Right, morning. So many of you, when you came in this morning, can't help but have seen our eVita concept vehicle, which is just out there, out the front. If you haven't seen it yet, sorry, can people hear me at the back? Can people hear me now? Perfect. Excellent, thumbs up at the back. Many of you, when you came in this morning, will have seen our eVita concept vehicle, which is just there out the back. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd ask you to go and have a look at it. It's a fantastic piece of engineering. But you might ask yourself, why would a leasing company invest in a concept vehicle? We're not an OEM, we don't build vehicles, so it's a fair question. Now, to answer that question, really you need to know a little bit more about us. So we are a unique leasing company. We are in place solely to support disabled people with vehicle mobility. Together with our customers, we generate about £4.3 billion annually to UK GDP. And just one of the ways we do that is by supporting our customers to continue with education and training. But like everyone in this conference today, we have a stake in ensuring a really successful EV transition. Today we've got about 100,000 of our customers in EVs. We've worked with great partners to fit home chargers. We have an app that supports our customers with away from home charging. And together with our 860,000 customers, both those in EVs and those that will drive EVs in the future, we have a really, really rich data set where we can get information on how the EV transition is going. So we will, over the coming weeks, release an EV transition tracker. Our intention is that we will update this quarterly to provide you and others in the automotive industry with a sense of how the EV transition is going, what's working, what isn't working as we progress to 2035. Now that transition tracker we're doing in partnership with Ipsos, and it will speak to not just our customers, but the broader range of drivers that are both in EVs and that are thinking of moving to EVs. Now, that transition tracker, as I say, will come out in future weeks, but I can share with you just some of the information we're starting to see already. Now, it's probably not a surprise to understand that EVs are evoking a mixed reaction. We see positivity skew very much into young, affluent, and urban households. That's a particular challenge for us because our customers are typically about 52 years old and typically in lower income households. So we really need to specifically think about how we fix this for them. And interestingly, range is still dominating the conversation. But not necessarily because range in itself is the problem. More customers and drivers are concerned about how they charge their vehicle. They're concerned that when they find somewhere that's charging, it might be in an inaccessible location, it might not be working, there might be someone else already there. And interestingly, these views are really entrenched whether someone is thinking about driving an EV or they're in an EV already, which is surprising to me. But something that is incredibly fascinating is starting to show up. So bear in mind that I talked about a broader group of people. So we look at the demographic of the people we've spoken to. So this on the right gives you a sense of the distribution of people's situation within the group that we've been speaking to. Ranging from nearly half have never had an EV, they've never been a passenger, they've got no experience of it whatsoever, through to those that are in an EV today. The bit that's fascinating is if you think about people who've had no experience of an EV at all, just being a passenger in an EV doubles their likelihood of buying a product. Just being a passenger. And if you nudge them that little bit further to give someone the opportunity to charge an EV, again, almost doubles the likelihood of them buying an EV. So just small nudges along the journey make a really material difference in how we take people on this journey. So what are we doing? Well, we're working with fantastic partners in this space to try and nudge people along. We're working with OEMs on thinking about accessible features that our customers value. Again, importantly, it's worth bearing in mind that some of these features are not just relevant to our customer base, they're also relevant to an older demographic, people that may have nothing to do with disability, but have requirements that are similar to our customers. We've been working with charge point providers, using that GoCharge app I talked about earlier, and asking our customers to give information on the charging points. Again, typically information to date has just focused on, is it working or is it not working? We are able to get a much richer set of data that gives people a view on, do they feel secure when they're using this charging space? Is it well lit? Is it somewhere they feel safe to use? Again, think beyond our customers. There are lots of other people that feel vulnerable when they're using charging points, and we're able now to surface that data with reviews from our customers. We've been working with franchise dealers on test drives and helping them understand where postcodes have great charging point accessibility, or people have a higher propensity to have drives so they can charge at home. And actually this image is a test drive event we did with GridServe at one of their hubs and with our franchise dealers. And we're also working with used vehicle motor traders, so independent dealers, not franchise dealers, to support their understanding of electric vehicles. And we're doing that with Auto Trader, so we're about to launch something with Auto Trader in the next few weeks. Again, it's vitally important that together we support the used EV market. If we cannot support residual values for EVs, it's going to make all of our lives that much more difficult. So let me give you a case study in this space. So a WAV is a wheelchair accessible vehicle. How I would describe them is it's typically a production vehicle, a commercial vehicle, a van, where one of our converter partners, and we work with about 12 fantastic converter partners in the UK-based engineering companies. And what they typically do is they lower the rear floor of a commercial vehicle and they attach a ramp to it. But that's a very functional description of a WAV. If I was to ask one of our customers, they would describe a WAV as a lifeline. It enables them to continue living their life, to have a level of vehicle mobility that you and I might take for granted. Give you a sense of the market size, we buy about 9,000 WAVs a year. We think the market registers another 2,000 outside of our scheme. Worth noting that that combined 12,000 units registered in the UK every year is bigger than the number registered in the rest of Europe combined. WAVs are a little known British success story, and it's worth thinking about that as we talk about the challenges going forward. But there are some particular complexities when we think about EVs on this journey. We know that, depending on where the battery is located, can make it really difficult to think about that conversion I just talked about. So we worked with an award-winning consultancy in the Midlands, a company called Callum Design, to think about how we can tackle some of these challenges. But don't let me tell you about the vehicle. Let me show you a video where two of our customers will explain it in a far better way.
My name is Alex, and this is my husband Lionel. I'm passionate about making this country a more accessible place for wheelchair users. My WAV really means liberation for me and involvement in life in the way that I want and choose to be involved. It's going to be very interesting.
There's a dial on there which will allow you to adjust the rear and air conditioning and volume of the music, so you've got your own controls.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
The fact that disabled people are being considered as equal partners in the whole design process is absolutely fantastic. Look, that's a line. It's so helpful. You have to follow it. And it's really nice and silent and smooth.
What I really like about Evita is things have been designed in from the ground up. The floor could be lowered. You didn't have to sort of get up a massive ramp. The ramp was a good gradient. A lot of things have been thought through.
Oh my gosh, we're off.
So what do you reckon?
I love the light. I love the visibility out of the windscreen. I love this little console here. There's drinks holders, there's lots of places for storage.
The whole utility bar's got so much potential.
Oh, it really has. It's fantastic. Things have been thought about carefully, like the button where you can control the air conditioning and the sound, a place to charge your phone. Number one for me was electric rear opening windows.
I hadn't driven an electric car before, and it was really nice. The smoothness of the electric is, was lovely.
I love the ride. Oh my God, I could ride in this car all day.
Well, that is down to it being largely electric. Without a lowered floor, we'd be in a van, and some people need the space of a van, but most people don't choose to drive a van as their car, and it's really excellent. The vehicle's been adapted that you can show that actually you don't have to have batteries that get in the way. Without being able to have batteries that can be flexibly positioned, this wouldn't be possible.
What the project seems to be wanting to do is to be giving some choice and flexibility and options to disabled people. Not meaning that it rules out the car being used for non-disabled people. No, a car that will work for disabled people and non-disabled people.
Now, it's worth calling out that actually the stars of that video are just sat in the front there. So Alex and Lionel, thank you for that. And both Alex and Lionel, they're genuine customers of us, and that is their genuine reaction upon seeing the vehicle for the first time. None of that is scripted. What you're getting is their real views. And actually, feel free, I hope you don't mind if people speak to you later on about that vehicle, because there's some fascinating insight they've got. So just talk about some of the features of the Evita. Now, bear in mind, it is a concept vehicle. This isn't a vehicle we are going to produce. But the project has generated a lot of IP, a lot of information about this space. And we're very happy to share that with anyone that is interested in working with us in this space, is interested in this sector. So Alex mentioned the line up the back. I mean, incredibly simple things that make a huge difference to our customers. These things don't have to be expensive to make a life-changing kind of change in the vehicle. We call out here the reconfigured battery I mentioned earlier. The battery is a real challenge on EVs when we turn them into WAVs, but we're speaking to OEMs about that in this space. A really simple thing, so you might not be aware of this, but for a wheelchair accessible vehicle, there is the ramp that comes out of the back. Nothing is more frustrating than for you to come back to your wheelchair accessible vehicle and find someone has parked their car incredibly close to it. Now you can't get the ramp down. Something as simple as an LED that just shines at the back when someone's car gets so close that just reminds them, hang on, there's going to be a ramp that's going to come down here. Please give a bit of space. We designed a lot of glass into the car, again, so that the rear passenger, A, doesn't get travel sick and can look out and feel comfortable in the space. And again, enabled the rear passenger to be closer to the driver, so they're part of the journey. Something as simple as being able to talk to the person driving the car, again, something we all take for granted. Silly things, and Alex was mentioning this to me earlier, such as just rear window controls. Again, things we take for granted that we've made a point of designing into this. Now, as I say, the point of eVita was to have these conversations with other OEMs and with other partners. And we saw the fruits of that at the Future of the Car event last month. Some of you might have seen that Kia, a manufacturer we've been working with, launched the WAV derivative of their new PV5 vehicle. So this is a side entry version. So this is a version they will create in plant. But I know that they are working with some of our converter partners that we talked about, looking at different variants of this product. They're looking to launch the left-hand drive version of it this year, and we're in discussions with them about the right-hand version and how we might enable that to come on scheme. But it's a great product, and it's just the start of these conversations that we're now having. So I asked the question right at the beginning of this, which is, why would we as a leasing company create a concept vehicle? To start a conversation, to start this conversation with you and with other stakeholders, to think about not just this space, but how we can work together through the EV transition. We are in a rare point of time here as we think about this transition, where we can put some of the typical competitive tendencies to one side and work together. We've all got the same challenge. We are all facing in the same direction as we move through this transition to 2035. And the final point, and Alex actually mentioned some of this in the video, is we genuinely believe that if we get this right for our customers, we get this right for everyone as we go on this journey. So on that note, I just want to thank you. Thanks for your time, and do please go out and see the eVita concept. Thank you.